Greetings, DMs, GMs, and players. This is the Insomniac GM, and today I'm going to start a new playlist. So I was talking to one of my coworkers, and they didn't know what a tabletop RPG was, and in the brief amount of time I could explain it, I couldn't really explain it well enough to them. And shortly after, I ended up talking to someone else, and they also didn't know what it was. So I figured, you know what? There's other people who don't understand, and so I'm going to create this series of videos to explain what they are. So, what is a tabletop role-playing game? A tabletop role-playing game is a set of rules where you create your own character and you play the role of it. Think of like a play where you're cast a character, you act out that character, what you think they will do, how they respond. And the rules of the game are in place to tell you how things work in the game. So, like, for instance, Call of Cthulhu is a lot more realistic for the player's perspectives. So, you get shot in Call of Cthulhu, you're pretty much dead. But you go into Starfinder. Starfinder has high technology, high magic, and that. And you can augment your character, etc., etc. So, one thing I was trying to explain before to these two people were, by the way, if you guys are watching, hi, I love you. One thing I tried explaining to them is it's all based on the system you're playing, and they didn't quite understand that. So when I say a system, or anyone else says a system, they're not talking about like the Xbox or the PlayStation or whatever. It is the rule set. Now, to give you an example, Lamentations of the Flame Princess. They not have a, I mean, they got that picture, but okay, I'll do it this way. So Call of Cthulhu. In Call of Cthulhu, that is what your character sheet looks like. This is just fluff for the most part, so here are your stats. Goes based off of your sanity, how much luck you have, how good you are at driving, piloting, locksmithing, etc. Now, we take a game like Starfinder, and that's its character sheet. So, with Starfinder, there's not as many skills, and you're going to use both pages. I'm just not really showing the second one. That's if you're going to be a spellcaster. But you notice with this character sheet, everything but this corner here is all about combat. This here is all skills. Actually, all of it is pretty much skill, only this is for combat, and you want to avoid combat. So right off that alone, those games are very different in how they play. And another example of how different these two games are is Call of Cthulhu. When you got to make any roll, you're going to use these two dice. We call those percentile or D100. Now, for Starfinder, you're going to use, most of the time, a single die, which is a 20-sided die. Now, that's what I mean when I talk about a system. The games have different rules, they play differently, and they work differently. Now, when it comes to determining what system is best for you, it all depends on what kind of game you want to play. So do you want to play more realistic, a more grounded game where it turns out that there are creatures that are far beyond your comprehension that you can't destroy with normal means? Do you want to play a game where it's super high tech, high fantasy, you're piloting a spaceship with a dwarf and an alien, and you're shooting down mechs and that? Or you could go something like Pathfinder, which is high magic. Like everyone is super powerful. They have high spells they can cast. They even have a spell in there where they can summon Godzilla to help them fight. But then you got Lamentations, which is also a fantasy game, but it plays more like Game of Thrones, where it's a lot more gritty. You can die tomorrow, and magic is a very rare thing, and if you use it, it's very dark. So you want to be careful when casting it. So it all depends on what kind of game you want to play. There are so many different RPGs, and there's so many different rule systems. Now, I just grabbed these 4 to show you, because if you're curious off of just this one video, all of these books you see here, you can go on DriveThruRPG and get Lamentations for free, minus the artwork. Call of Cthulhu, you can get the quick start rules or whatever on their website. Honestly, you don't really need a whole lot of rules for Call of Cthulhu. I think it's one of the easiest games to run as a GM. Starfinder and Pathfinder you can get for free on Archives of Memphis. You can also get Pathfinder First Edition. I just didn't put it over here because I didn't really want to overwhelm first-time players, and Starfinder kind of also fit that build a little bit. But, so, there's that. Now, another thing we need to take into consideration when playing a tabletop role-playing game is you have the role of the GM or DM, or whatever game system you're running, it goes by a different name. So you have the person who's pretty much the narrator of the story, and then you have the players. The players make the characters and go through a scenario. The GM or narrator creates the scenario you go through. They're not trying to kill you, but they try to challenge you. And so they create the scenario, they play all the NPCs, and there's a lot of improv for the GM. Now, one thing you may not understand is a new player, but you'll understand once you start playing it. It's like you're opening the floodgates at that point. Is unlike a video game, you are limitless on what you do. I mean, you can do anything you can do pretty much in real life, plus more. I shouldn't say limitless because you're following the rules. But, okay, let's say the princess is stuck in the tower. You're playing the knight. and dragon is guarding the tower. Okay. What do you do? Now, it may seem like, okay, well, I just charge in and save the princess. No, you can wait till the dragon sleeps and try to sneak in. You could try to hire some mercenaries in the area to help you get in. You could go and fight the dragon one-on-one. You could go to the dragon and maybe stroke its ego and, convince it that it doesn't need the princess. It deserves so much better. There's so many possibilities. And so many people create stories with them. Now, even when you come up with a plan in the game, there's no guarantee your plan is going to work the way you want it to. You have fate. So essentially, rolling the d20. If you get a natural 20 in a lot of games, not all of them, but like if you're playing Dungeons and Dragons, natural 20, critical success. Natural 1, critical failure. So you have an auto fail, you have an auto success. Now, you roll the die when you decide something. I got a 7. You add whatever number it says on your character sheet for whatever you're doing, and you get a total. If that total meets what the narrator set the difficulty as, then you succeed or you fail. 7's pretty low. I don't know what the modifiers would be for my character, but I would say in that case they would probably fail. So just know this game is so limitless. Look into some of these games if you're interested. They're all free that I'm showing. And now you may be interested in other things. Like one of the two people I was trying to explain RPGs to, they loved Harry Potter. So I told them, what's the name of the RPG? Kids on Brooms or whatever. That it's not an official Harry Potter game, but you could take that and run a Harry Potter game. There's a Dragon Ball Z game. I don't know how good it is, but you can run that. Or you can grab OVA and you can run Dragon Ball Z or Naruto, or you can just mix all of your anime together. Just know every game system is a different rule set, and you just got to find the right one for you. You got to find the right group for you. And you also want to be in a group that shares the same idea of what game they want to play. Like when I ran actual monsters with my one group for a one shot, we went darker than I've ever GM'd. But that was because I read the room. That's how we all wanted to play, and we loved it. When I run my Pathfinder 2e game, we joke a lot. We don't take it too serious. To give you an idea, it's fantasy, but like the kobolds, the little scrawny one-hit point monsters, for those who don't know what they are, essentially with my players, they're trying to like impress the players, and so they act very 90s like. They got their Dunkaroos and backwards baseball caps and skateboards. We joke. And it really just depends on what kind of game you want to run and what kind of game you want to be in. So those are things to consider. I will be turning this into a multi-part, but this is just a simple rundown. Much longer than not as bad as I thought it was going to be. But I hope this was helpful. I will make more videos in the future, but just remember Lamentations of the Flame Princess, Pathfinder, Starfinder, and Call of Cthulhu. Those are the 4 RPGs that are free that you can get a quick start on. Well, until next time, let me know in the comments, like, if there's another topic you would like me to cover with this series. But until next time, take care.